Well, good morning and welcome into the show, everybody. Marc Farzy with you here at the Steven Singer Studios. Hector Nearest still pitching on the mound. How many pitches can that man throw in a more than one inning save opportunity? A 5-out save for Hector Nearest, and he was dealing the entire time, pretty much. Vinny Velasquez comes out, has a great outing for you. 6 innings, 1-run baseball from Vince Velasquez, walking 2, giving up 4 hits. And then you also have a bomb of a home run from JT Realmuto that's up in the upper deck in left field. That was just mind-blowing. How about that? Sixers come out and eke out a victory against the Chicago Bulls. I say eke out. Now, they did cover last night. I did end up betting the Sixers, so that was cool. But when I say eke out a win, the bench came in and was terrible. You also had Doc Rivers come out and try to defend his center and his point guard, his center and his facilitator, whatever it might be. And then you also heard Doc Rivers talk about how great a defender Ben Simmons is yet again. And then we also have some Flyers news we're going to get into. How about that game last night for the Flyers? Good to see that. We'll get to them in the morning rush. And wouldn't you know it, the Eagles draft was fantastic. We talked about it yesterday. I said that if I had to really give them a grade, I would go with a grade of a B-. Not necessarily a C. Anything in the C, I feel, in like the C range, I feel like people, it's like, get off the fence. It's like when you ask somebody A, B, or C, and B is always that middle answer. Is it great? Is it terrible? Meh. And that's kind of the B answer. I hate the B answer. I hate the one in the middle that allows people to be on the fence. Make a decision, people. So the decision I made was a B-, basically. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't middle of the road, and it wasn't god-awful. All my points yesterday, just to quickly reiterate for those that didn't hear, I was shocked they didn't take a corner till the 4th round. I didn't like their second-round selection of Dickerson with all the injuries that he's had. Things don't get easier in the NFL, as we all know, but I absolutely love Devontae Smith with their 10th overall pick. I absolutely love that. I love the being aggressive and going up and make sure you got that guy. You got that guy. I love how much it pissed off New York Giants fans, so that was enjoyable. I love the fact that the Cowboys didn't get who they really wanted going into the draft, so that's even better. But what did you know? A national writer for The Athletic actually said that the Eagles had the single best draft, and we're going to get into that in today's show. Hugh Lamont Douglas III will join us on this fine Tuesday morning. And I'll just say this. Tom Donahoe might not have had a fist bump lying in the waiting for Howie Roseman, but a friend of the show did. We'll get to that. Just a little teaser for you there. You don't want to miss Hugh Douglas joining us today, coming up in a couple of minutes. But let's just talk about that Eagles draft just one more time. So there's a national writer for The Athletic, and he is the draft beatnik, the draft Nick, if you will, for The Athletic. He gave the Eagles the best possible grade that you can have. Not A, B, or C, but of all the 32 teams in the NFL, Dane Brugler is how you say his name. Dane Brugler, that's how you say it, said that the Eagles, of all teams in the NFL, came in top of the charts. The best draft of any team in the NFL. As I told you yesterday, and as I say every single draft season, I'm not the college football expert. I'm not. I can identify what the Eagles obviously need. I can identify the areas that they've struggled in the most. I do make sure that I'm up to speed on everything that's going on with the NFL draft. But when you start talking about 5th-round picks, you start talking about 6th-round picks, start talking about 7th-round picks, that's where I'll leave it up to the experts just a little bit there. But when you do talk about an injury status of a particular player, 4 big injuries going into now his professional career as a guard, interior lineman, I'll say, in Landon Dickerson. When you're looking at a guy like that has dealt with that many injuries, I don't know how you walk away from it going, wow, slam dunk pick, without factoring in the injuries. Now, we know that Devontae Smith is a home run pick. At least that's how I feel about it. But here is what Mr. Brugger had to say about Landon Dickerson from Alabama. Eagles had no shortage of candidates here, obviously picking there in the 2nd round, which is the main reason they are number 1 on his list. Dickerson gets his vote because of his combination of high-end talent and any of the interior line positions that he's able to play. His impact in the locker room will also be big. I guess because of his versatility. I don't like saying that a rookie's going to come in here and have some great locker room impact, like he's going to be some kind of leader. So I'm guessing he's meaning in versatility. But then he goes on to say his injury history is troublesome, but well worth the risk. Okay. All right, so we all still cross our fingers. I think anybody who knows anything about football, either the littlest bit, right? Just the fact that you know that they play on the gridiron, right? I think anyone that knows that at least knows the upside of anyone in the NFL draft who is injury prone and was supposed to go a lot higher in the draft than they did. Everyone understands the upside of that. They know how great that player can be. But the downside is the big dice roll here. The second round pick is the big dice roll here in all of this. So for me, whether or not he plays well, I think if he gets the opportunity to play, he'll play well based on everyone telling me how talented this guy is, right? And the fact that he was at Alabama, such a great school, and he certainly has a history with other Alabama players on this team, most notably Devontae Smith, who we just played with as recently as last year. So you think about it like that for a second, and you go, all right, well, I understand the upside, but how do we dispel the downside at all? How do we just say, oh yeah, it's a risk, but it's worth it? Well, how is it worth it again when you had some other needs that were there on the board and you still had some other talented players that were there on the board available for the taking in that second round also, and you decided not to go in that direction? I don't see it. I don't get it. I'm going to root for the guy. I hope he comes here to Philadelphia. I hope he's the next Jason Kelsey and plays here for 10 years and makes Pro Bowls, helps win a Super Bowl, wears another Mummer's outfit on the Art Museum steps, whatever it might be. I'll tell you this. I love the fact that he was still trash talking Nick Sirianni about beating him in rock, paper, scissors when they called him to tell him that he was going to be playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's great. So that's where Brugler stepped in when he talked about Landon Dickerson. Zach McPherson. This was another pick that he loved, all right? Saying that it was a tough choice between McPherson, Gainwell, and some of the other corners that were available in the draft because he thought when he went down to the underrated portions of these guys, or the underrated portion of the cornerback spot throughout this entire process, the Penn State transfer looks comfortable in both man and zone coverage, and he shows an outstanding fluidity in both and toughness to mirror receivers. Hey, if that's what you're getting in a fourth-round pick, and I can't go back to it enough. As much as I saw Ruben Frank was putting this out on NBC Sports Philadelphia, friend of the show. I saw he was putting this out that you got to give Howie Roseman credit for sticking to their board and not reaching for talent. I don't really think it's reaching for talent, especially in the third round. And between your third round pick and your fourth round pick, who was Zach McPherson, between those two picks, 6 corners went off the board, including the spot immediately following after the spot you picked. So I don't know who could really say that, oh, well, they're reaching for a corner in that spot when they were so readily available right there for the taking between the third and fourth round, between your third and fourth round picks. So to me, I can't say it's a slam dunk. I certainly don't say it's the best draft in the entire NFL. But this Brugler fella seems to be all about the Eagles and all about Howie Roseman throughout the entire draft process. So I'm going to go ahead as a guy that's rooting for this team to win. I'm going to go ahead and do what I do so often. Hope that I'm wrong. And hope that the Eagles did have the single greatest draft in the 2021 NFL draft. So we'll all keep our fingers crossed for that. Want to move it to baseball. Loved what I saw from the Phillies last night. I told you yesterday in a big bet segment that I was very excited about Vinny Velasquez pitching. And Hausner, I believe is his name for the Brewers. I was like, you know what? That sounds like some runs. Christian Yelich is back in the lineup, right? That sounds like some runs to me. And then I saw Rhys Hoskins, of course, wasn't playing. Bryce Harper not playing. Some other guys getting a night off, obviously. So they didn't hit the over, unfortunately for me. However, fortunately for me, Philly still won that game. And Vince Velasquez, as a starting pitcher, has pitched very well for this Phillies team, especially comparing him to the expectations that we had for him as a starting pitcher. Had 3 great innings against Colorado, struggled in that 4th inning, put a bunch of good innings together in his next start, and then yesterday gave you 6 innings of 1 run, 4 hit, 2 walk baseball. And what was really amazing to me, after he goes out there and gets you the win, by the way, so Vince Velasquez now 1-0 on the season. After he goes out there and gets you the win, Joe Girardi was not just giving him his next start, which I found interesting, I guess. You're still talking about some other guys getting that opportunity. I would still love to see Spencer Howard get an opportunity to start for this ball club. I'd love to see that. I know the minor league season is going to start to get underway with not just some different assignments here and there. But here is Joe Girardi after the game last night when he was asked about Vince Velasquez getting another start in the near future, actually as recent as Saturday. Here's the Phillies skipper on that.
Vinny actually threw his best 2 innings were his 5th and 6th inning. So maybe we need to tire him out a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about that. I mean, I just walked in here, but he threw a good ball game.
It looks like, from just observing, it looks like he might deserve one after a game like this.
Yeah, I mean, I have to see what happens and see what we need, but yeah, I mean, Vinny threw a good game.
The great Jim Salisbury of NBC Sports Philadelphia campaigning for Vinny Velo to get that start on Saturday. Like I said, 6 innings through 98 pitches, 57 of those for strikes. He puts his ERA to 4.91 on the season. He lowers it to that. Look, I'm happy for the guy. I'm never rooting against Vince Velasquez. I think we all know the deal, though. This is a short-lived. I think it was 2 years ago we saw Vince Velasquez end the season strong and thought, oh, you know what, maybe he's figuring it out. That old chestnut. And it turns out he didn't figure it out. We've seen him have some decent runs before. I hope this is the middle of a decent run for him. But I think Joe Girardi, the reason he's so timid maybe to say, oh, yeah, well, you're starting Saturday, obviously. Saturday, obviously. I think he's so timid and so hesitant to say that he's going to be the starter is because I think he's going to get other guys healthy. And I also think at the same time he realizes what Vince Velasquez is, which is an extremely streaky starting pitcher. Streaky pitcher all the way through. Doesn't just have to be starting pitcher. So I think Joe Girardi understands that, doesn't want to really commit to anything, and it's not just him saying, well, I just walked in here. Yeah, no, I think you have a pretty good idea of who's going to be your starting pitcher on Saturday. Now, the other thing is Hector Neris. And Hector Neris gets so much crap. And I actually think Hector Neris is a good pitcher. He's the closer. And he's certainly not Brad Lidge in 08. He's certainly not even, Jose Mesa before that. He's certainly not Jonathan Papelbon, who's the Phillies' all-time saves leader, which still just blows my mind every time that gets referenced. But he's rather inconsistent. I will say that. He's not a great closer, but I think he gets a lot more flack than he deserves. And yesterday, Hector Neris goes out there and gets you a 5-out save, throws 40 pitches in the 5-out save, and I thought he looked great. And there were a couple of different instances where things really could have blown up in his face. There was an infield single that I forget who it was for the Brewers that still got on base with it, obviously infield single. And he threw him a splitter that broke down to the zone perfectly, and he just made the adjustment, barely put bat on ball, and made it to first base. And I didn't realize this, but Hector Neris actually at one point, after he issued a walk, looked over at the bench to his skipper, to Joe Girardi himself, and said, Hector Neris of all people said, hey, Joe, I got this. Don't take me out of the ball game. Joe, I got this. So Hector Neris goes out there to end the game after issuing a walk, goes up there, and actually, no, that was it was the fielder's choice, excuse me. He goes out there, and that's where he got Voldenbach on the outs. No, I'm sorry, that was the 8th inning. Sorry. He goes out there. He walks McKinley. He walks McKinney. Wong goes up there. He reaches on the infield single. I think Joe Girardi's confused. I was listening to it before the show. And then he struck out Lorenzo Cain to get you the victory. Here is Joe Girardi on that little exchange he had with Hector Neris after the infield single to Colton Wong.
Well, it's a gutsy performance by Hector. I mean, I don't ever like letting a pitcher go that many pitches, and I know he threw a few in the inning before, but just a really gutsy. And he looked over and said, I got this. And that was his last hitter. I mean, no matter what. So obviously he did a heck of a job.
When did he look over and say that to you?
So it would have been after he walked Colton Wong. And he
Okay.
kind of walked towards the line, and he was like, I got it. And I gave him the chance, and he came through big for us.
Love Jim Salzman just peppering Joe Girardi. But he walked up McKinney. Then he gave up the infield single to Colton Wong. That's what the manager means. And then he got the strikeout to end the game. You got to love that from any closer. You got to love it from any pitcher, but especially a closer that's saying, no, I'm the guy that's closing the door. And he absolutely did that. And you saw a little shimmy there at the end of the game, just how excited Hector Neris was. I do have to mention the offensive side of things here for the Phillies, of course. And the ball that JT Realmuto hit yesterday is one of those balls you just didn't – I'm not even sure if it came down. I mean, they showed the kid that ended up he didn't catch it in midair, but he corralled it, if you will. That ball was just belted. That ball was blasted into left field, and that's what you needed from JT Realmuto, especially yesterday, with no Rhys Hoskins in the lineup and also no Bryce Harper in the lineup. Both those guys are day-to-day, according to Joe Girardi after the game. But when you did not have those big guns in the lineup, JT Realmuto was the guy that came to answer. And Roman Quinn, how about Roman Quinn yesterday, getting you a triple, just flying around the base paths yesterday. But the star of the offensive game for the Phillies yesterday was JT Realmuto. That was great to see. Phillies will play game 2 today against the Brewers of their 4-game series. Remember that. So we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. 76ers. Nerve-wracking game if you bet the Sixers to cover the 7.5, which is what I had them at on DraftKings. Nerve-wracking game. However, Doc Rivers says he decides to take his starters out for a lot of the fourth quarter. So then what promptly happens? Well, the Bulls go on a run, and a 21-point lead became a 1-point lead, and then it was, all right, starters, get back in the ball game. It was another a tough one for Tobias Harris. It was a tough one, really, for Joel Embiid above all else. He had an awful game yesterday. Defensively was there, aggressive on the rebounds and all that. That was there. But Ben Simmons was there more so on the glass and more so on the facilitating role and defensive role above everything else. But it was just a really poor performance by your bench. Matisse Thybulle got you some points. Shake Milton got you some points. But really, once you went to the bench, the Bulls went on a run. And the Bulls were down guys yesterday. So once you decided to make that change, it's still amazing to me, Thaddeus Young, man. Playing for the Bulls, but it's just crazy. But watching the Sixers try to play that fourth quarter, feeling like they had it in the bag, and then really having to do whatever it took to hold on and have your starters really take over that game yet again, having to put them in towards the end of the game. Tobias Harris was your leader yesterday. Seth Curry had another good game for you. He had 20 points. Tobias Harris got you 21. But when you look at that Sixers team and you see Joel Embiid only with 13 points, 10 rebounds on 4 of 13 shooting, and then you see this also for Joel Embiid. 5 of 6 from the free throw line, but only 6 free throw attempts for Joel Embiid. That's like half his average on the season. There was a lot of uncomfortableness. The ball movement wasn't there as it was the night before. You saw this team really start to struggle towards the second half of this game, in the second half of this game. And most of that was because of what happened in the first, I think it was 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, where you looked at just the fourth quarter line and you saw that the Sixers were losing in the fourth quarter, 24-7. At one point, that was the score in the fourth quarter, 24-7, before the starters went back into the ball game, calmed the storm, and all was right with the world after. But there was 2 things said by the head coach, by Doc Rivers after the game. One had to do with the relationship of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And I don't know if there is something that I think more people are trying to make a story out of that's not a story. I think people want these guys to have sleepovers and watch movies together and play Call of Duty all night long with one another. I don't care about that. All I care is that they have each other's backs on the basketball court. As long as there's no dysfunction on the basketball court between the two of them, I'm fine with that. And let's just take into consideration how this could blow up in the Sixers' faces. Well, if it was going to blow up, I think it would have happened after the 2-3 separate times that Joel Embiid has talked about Ben Simmons needed to shoot if he's open. Ben Simmons needed to draw defenders on himself to open up guys around the court. That's happened on more than one occasion where Joel Embiid has publicly made statements like that. And what have you heard from Ben Simmons? Crickets. You've heard nothing. There's no bad blood there. It is a story that is being, it's like, the national media, whoever it is trying to drum up a story to rain on our parade, and it's just not real. I don't care if they don't have sleepovers. I don't care if they're playing, I don't know if they're not playing Call of Duty all night. I don't care. As long as they're getting along on the basketball court, as long as there's no disarray there, as long as the discontent there, then everything is fine. And I'll also go to this. Beginning of last year, when Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid had a little scuffle on the court, Ben Simmons was the first guy to go up to Joel Embiid and say, hey, man, I got your back. That's all I need. I'm good. As far as I'm concerned, they're bosom buddies right there. So that's just a weird story that I know a lot of people have tried to drum up. The first person that jumps to mind when I bring up that story is Colin Cowherd, where even if you say, oh, it's not that they don't like each other, it's just that they're not best friends. What are you getting at? And that was a story from 2 years ago. So it's just people trying to create something that's not there. It's people trying to create a story because LeBron's not playing again, and now whatever might be happening with the Nets, James Harden obviously is not going to be there till the end of the season or till the playoffs. It's something out of nothing, and I hate the story. I'll just say that. Also, after the game, Doc Rivers came out and said that there's no better defender in the NBA than Ben Simmons. So I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Although, and last night's performance certainly didn't help Joel Embiid in any conversation about the MVP, but I will say that Rudy Gobert seems to be taking a lot of shots now on the national stage when it comes to his Defensive Player of the Year status and who could get that award this year. I think it's just now Ben Simmons, the odds-on favorite to win the Defensive Player of the Year. I think when people are listening to Doc Rivers, or I think when Doc Rivers is speaking, people are listening to what Doc Rivers has to say. So that I wouldn't be shocked at all now if that does go to Ben Simmons at the end of the year. We'll get a little bit more Sixers conversation coming up in our Morning Rush segment. Also, we'll check in. If you guys had to give that old letter grade. Now, this guy, Brugler here on The Athletic, is saying that the Eagles had the best draft of anybody in the NFL. If you had to give a letter grade, why don't you go and hit me up in the comments here on our YouTube page, and I'll follow that, and I'll check it out after we talk to our friend Hugh Lamont Douglas III coming up in just a second. But right now, I want to tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Mother's Day Sunday. Steven's got your back. How about this? How about his famous 24-karat gold dip rose? #1 gift for mom on Mother's Day. Don't just buy flowers that end up in the trash in a week. Buy real roses. The real rose dipped in gold dip roses, trimmed in real 24-karat gold that lasts a lifetime. Steven has always been in the love business. And this past year, we found out just how important love is. So Steven is continuing to send love by using a portion of each rose sold to support local restaurants, by catering meals for the incredible nurses, the hospital heroes, the healthcare heroes, the first responders, doctors, everyone. He's doing that to cater meals from local restaurants for our healthcare heroes. Don't be fooled by copycats. Go now to IHateStevenSinger.com. Check out his original 24-karat gold dip roses with his famous lifetime guarantee. They come in exclusive colors starting at just $59. This is your last chance for free shipping to arrive in time for Mother's Day. But don't wait to give the gift that they'll feel great about. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com. You're almost out of time. Free shipping, folks. Free shipping. Almost out of time. Steven Singer's famous gold dip roses come with a lifetime guarantee for free personalized gift message. Fast and free shipping. Go now to IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. All right, without further ado, let's talk a little bit more Eagles football. And you know the story about Tom Donahoe and the little fist bump heard around the world? Well, Hugh Douglas has a little anecdote on that story, and we'll get to that in just a second. As Hugh Douglas joins us here on the Zatos Investments guest line. And finally, Hugh's Day is upon us. From 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, former Eagle, number 53, Hugh Douglas joins us on this fine Hugh's Day. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Marc Farzy? What's going on, Philadelphia? How's it?
We're doing well. We love Howie's first pick. We love Devontae Smith. I'm going to get your take on him and everything because I know how you guys down there in Atlanta love your college football a little bit more here than a little bit more there than Philadelphia. But you guys right out of the gate with the Atlanta Falcons, you guys select with the 4th overall pick Kyle Pitts, it's almost chalk with the first 3-4 picks of the NFL draft. How are the people in Atlanta, Hugh, in reacting to Kyle Pitts now being a Falcon?
You know what? I'll be the first to tell you, Mark, because I said it last time I was here on Hugh's Day, that I thought it was going to be a quarterback. It wasn't. I'm okay with that. But there are a lot of Falcons fans that are not okay with it. They're not okay with the best player on the board. I mean, seriously, if you weren't going to take a quarterback, I would think the way that he was highly touted, that you would be happy to have a Kyle Pitts. I think some people are happy, but there are other people who thought the same thing that I did, that they were going to go in the route of a quarterback, so they're a little bit upset. But I look at it like this. The writing's on the wall. Matt Ryan's going to be here. Matt Ryan, to me, is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Matt Ryan, to me, is going to at least be here 3, maybe 5 more years playing quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where, Coach Smith and Terry Fontenot told the people, hey, we're trying to win now. Matt Ryan's our quarterback we're going to do it with. Forget all you guys. Forget every last one of you. This is our guy. We're going forward with him.
Wow. Well, I'll say this. For anybody that's upset with getting Kyle Pitts, like, I thought Matt Ryan was a little older. I thought he was about 38. He's only 35. So if you're giving him that weapon right now and Julio Jones isn't going anywhere, I mean, that in itself is something.
That's the kicker.
Ooh.
A lot of speculation going on down here whether or not Julio is going to be here.
Well, even more so than the last time we spoke, because the last time we spoke, we talked about that Peter King article.
Yeah, there was a story, Mark, that I read today where, it basically talked about the future of the Atlanta Falcons. And Arthur Smith, Coach Smith, said that, he picked, if you wanted somebody to rebuild, you picked the wrong guy. And they're openly having talks about whether trade talks to Julio Jones. Now,
wow,
whether that means Julio's going to be here or not, who knows? Who knows? But when you think about the draft picks that they've signed and the money that they have, I think they have like $900,000 under the cap or something like that. So they're in a position where they're going to have to move some money around to sign the draft picks.
Wow.
So
Okay.
That Julio one is huge.
So are you saying that it's basically coming down to a choice between Jones and Ryan?
You know what? I think so. I think so. I mean, if that's, what we're doing, but yeah, I think so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, I mean, but when you say it like that, it's the truth. Matt Ryan is the quarterback. They decided to get the quarterback. They went and got the all-world tight end. They had the all-world receiver. So now it's like, we're going with the quarterback.
Right.
So I think if they do decide to move on from Julio Jones, if that's the case, don't know for sure, that everybody's fine with Kyle Pitts being here. But everybody would love to see, if it's at all possible, all of those guys on the field at the same time, because, boy, if you can keep that together, boy, ooh.
Yeah,
ooh.
I'll be betting some overs for them Atlanta Falcons games.
Yeah, I would hate to be a defender trying to defend that offense, really.
Yeah, no question. Hugh, as you well know, the Philadelphia Eagles took Devontae Smith with their first pick in the draft, number 10 overall, traded up with the Cowboys.
Yes, they screwed the Cowboys because the Cowboys wanted to get the Patrick Surtain, or that was the rumor, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And with all the finagling and moving around, they didn't even get who they wanted. Man, listen. On draft day, when all of that happened, the Eagles fans that were rejoicing about the fact that, you got the trade and the Cowboys didn't get who they wanted to get, oh, that was a beautiful thing, man. It was just funny. I was like, wow. I know Petty. I do know Petty. And, boy, that was the Eagles fans were real petty for that, but I respect Petty. I really do. I respect Petty.
So I know you guys down there in Atlanta love your college football, as I was saying earlier. Devontae Smith certainly plays his fair share of games down there as well, playing for Roll Tide there, the Crimson Tide of Alabama. What do you make of this particular Roll Tide fella in this Devontae Smith?
I tell you what, man, I had a chance to see him play a lot of games. He's fast. And then when you talk about the fact that him and Jalen Hurts play together, they know each other. I mean, I think that's great. You talk about instant chemistry. That helps out tremendously, man. I mean, when you have a young quarterback and you have somebody that he's somewhat familiar with, that he can throw the ball to. I think that helps out a lot. And it also helps out Devontae as well, because he has Jalen there with him. And I'm pretty sure from what I've heard about Jalen, he's out there getting ready for the season every day. He's out there grinding every day. From the reports that I've read, he hasn't left the NovaCare complex. So that's a great thing. Yeah,
Jalen Reagor and him, as a matter of fact, I think we're walking into the NovaCare complex today to put some work in, as they say. I do want to ask you about this. This is so interesting to me. Only 166 pounds, youngest wide receiver like in the history of anything. Lightest wide receiver in the history of anything. And everyone's talking about how they're concerned about his weight. Can he stay healthy? First off, when somebody is that skinny, that light, does that automatically lend itself to injury prone? Or is it just really the style of play that can more lend itself to being injury prone?
You know what's funny? When I first started hearing conversations about how small he was, I instantly Googled small receivers. Marvin Harrison wasn't the biggest guy.
No.
He wasn't as small as Devontae is. But the one thing that I remember about Marvin Harrison, I can't remember at any time where I've seen Marvin Harrison take a big hit, like ever. Like I was going back and I was thinking, and then I started trying to remember some of the games he played against him. Marvin Harrison did a tremendous job of catching the ball and getting the hell out the way. I mean, think about that. I mean, and I think if you're playing at this level, and if you're probably not the biggest guy at this level, you have to be that guy. Because, like, you know, and as a quarterback, you know, you can't put your receiver, if he's not that big, you can't have him going across the middle and have him catching suicide catches. Can't do that and get his head tore off. You got to give him a chance to catch the ball and be able to protect himself. So, like I said, it could potentially be a big deal, but I don't think it is. I think he's smart enough to know that you just got to, when you catch that ball, you got to get down. And if you're going across the middle, you really better have your head on the swivel.
Did you play with anybody in your entire career in the NFL? Did you play with anybody that had to add weight almost right out of the gate in the NFL?
I don't. I would say probably not add weight, but I played with a skinny dude before. Todd, that's my frat brother. Yeah, Todd was slim. You see Todd now, he ain't fat, but Todd found that weight. He found a little bit of weight. Todd put a little bit of weight on. He ain't fat though, but he just put a little bit of weight on.
Oh, he's pudgy, a little pudge.
Well, he's like, he doesn't like the Todd that I remember we played football. He ain't that rail built Todd. He's a little bit heavier now, a little bit heavier.
What's he doing to gain weight now? Can we tell Devontae Smith to eat whatever Todd Pinkston's eating now?
Well, you know, it's called getting old. You know, when you get a certain age, Marc Farzy, it don't matter. If you got a weight problem right now, don't worry about it. Just get old. Let that metabolism slow down. Then that usually is the best thing for you right there.
Noted. In terms of the front office, we've talked a lot about the Eagles front office and all the turmoil and drama that's been surrounding the front office. Have you seen the latest little thing that went on between Howie Roseman and, I believe his proper title is Senior Football Advisor, and that's Tom Donahoe. Have you seen this?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes,
What did you make of the fist bump or lack thereof between Howie and Donahoe?
To be honest, Marc, that was the biggest generation gap that I have ever seen witnessed on video. Like I had to go and look like, damn, how old is Tom that he did not understand what was just going on in that situation? And it looked like Howie tried to explain it to him. You know,
like what a fist bump was.
Yeah. Like Howie, like what Tom, what the hell? You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, like he was all, you know, a crotchety old dude, like, fist bump, what the hell? You know, that's what it looked like to me. Tom, if you see this, Tom, love you to death, man. But I'm just saying, you look like you were caught off guard with the fist bump. As a matter of fact, I felt so bad for Howie. I think I tweeted him hugs. I think I tweeted him a hug. He tweeted back, "Let's go," and I was like, "Oh, hey, let's indeed." I was like, "Hey, good time." So,
I need to see. I need to see that. That was you actually. I don't think Howie's on. Would you text him?
Yeah, I sent him a text. Matter of fact, let me see what I text Howie, man.
You texted Howie Roseman after the fist bump.
I think I did, and he just said, "Well, yo, let's go." Yeah, Howie. You know, me and Howie, we have a strange relationship. he speak. I mean, but I will say this to his credit, he speaks like he does speak. We do speak. Let me see what I said.
Please, yeah, by all means, take it. I like the theory that it was a generational gap.
I said, I just pinned him the fist bump. I pinned him the fist. I'm sitting the fist, and he said, "Let's go." And I said, "Indeed, hope all is well." That's all I said. But he was still like he was in the moment. He was in the moment. So I just sent him the fist, like I sent him the fist bump. And so he was like, "Let's go." I was like, "Yeah, indeed. Hope all is well." That's what I did.
So Tom Donahoe didn't know the fist bump. So you're like, "I'll make up for Tom. I'll fist bump you."
I was fist like, yeah. So he's like, "Let's go." Like, because I guess he was still in the moment. I think he was still in the moment. So that was
he's very excitable. Howie, I mean, that's what Howie does.
But listen, Howie had everybody wonder what the hell he was doing though. Like for real. Like Howie had the 6 pick, then he moved out the front, he moved out the top 10, then he moved back in the top 10. Eagles fans were pissed, you know what I mean? He gets Devontae Smith, the world is great, everything is right with the world now. I mean, but it's like, did you really have to move in the first place? I mean, I think that's a valid question.
Yeah, well, I'll put it to you like this, because we did talk about this a number of times, Hugh, and I agree with you, and I still agreed with you that if you move back into the top 10 after moving out, then you would look dumb. Yeah. However, and this is what it all comes down to, and I give Howie full credit. He knew the market. He knew Kyle Pitts was going to be off the board. He knew Jalen Waddle was going to be off the board. Not Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase was going to be off the board.
Yeah.
So once Surtain went off the board, once J.C. Horn went off the board, and the Eagles then decided to move up, they essentially moved back 4 spots to get a first-round pick next year. Yeah. So that's some crafty work there, Howie Roseman.
That was smart. That was smart on Howie. But you know what the funny thing about it, and that's the crazy thing about the draft, you got to wait and see how it's going to play out, because we're all quick to judge immediately, not knowing. We for us as fans, we know way more than the people know that do this shit every day. Like seriously, we know way more than they do, and it never ceases to amaze me every year how we work ourselves up in a tizzy to get upset about things that we truly don't understand. Oh, what the hell is Howie doing? I mean, I did it. I mean, we all do it because we're fans and we love the Eagles. What the hell is he doing? That sounds crazy to me. Ha ha. He got a first-round draft pick out of it. And he still got the guy that he wanted. So it's one of those things, man. Like, and just like now, we're starting to grade the draft. Are you serious? But that's what we do. That's what we do.
It takes 3 years. You got to wait 3 years to make a decision.
You know what the unfortunate thing about this is, Mark? Because
What's that?
Do shows and radio shows and do podcasts, stuff like that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. They want to know what you think right now.
Yeah, so right now.
You know what? We just have to wait and see what's going to happen. Can't do that. But it's the truth. You got to wait to see what's going to happen.
I do just want to say Howie did go on to try to explain the whole fist bump thing, and he said that guys basically have their favorites, and Tom Donahoe basically had his favorite, and the Eagles did not get his favorite. That's why he was a little put off.
And you know what? I commend Howie for being brutally honest. But for Tom, you can't let the folks at home see you sweat, man. You was all up in your feelings when they didn't pick you. Who did you want? Hey, Tom, you know what? Tom, who did you want, Tom? I mean, I want to know now. Who did you
I think
want?
it was a corner. And I give the Eagles another thing we can give credit to Howie for, I guess, although I believe it was 6 different corners went off the board between their 3rd-round pick and their 4th-round pick when they took Zach McPherson. And so between those picks, 6 corners were available, including immediately after their 3rd-round pick. So I think Donahoe wanted a guy right in that spot. So I know you should never reach for anybody in the draft, but I think in the 3rd or 4th round, that's when you can start looking at somebody that's a healthy mix of both need and best player available. No?
Yeah, I think so. And I just want to know, honestly, Mark, who is he in his feelings about? Like that was if that was the case, you were in your feelings. Like you were in that, what's that Dre song, Got Me in My Feelings? Yo, Kiki, are you with me? Are you riding? Yeah, Tom was in his feelings a little bit with that one.
No.
Jeff.
All right. Now I need to see Tom Donahoe dancing to something with Drake with the key. Do you love?
Hey, why so moist, Tom? Why you moist? You know that word right there, moist, man. That is just like the funniest word in the English dictionary. Moist. Why you moist, Tom? I ain't never gonna be allowed back in Philadelphia. I ain't gonna never be allowed to Nova Kid Complex as long as he.
Oh no! I'll see to it, Hugh Douglas, that you are absolutely. You're open. You're welcome. Welcome with open arms. You know what's gonna happen? You're gonna walk into the Novacare complex, and Tom Donahoe is gonna be doing the key. Do you love?
Who the hell is this guy? Yeah, who the hell is this guy talking about me? My bad, Tom, but you gave away. Like, dog, you can't let people see you sweat, dog. You can't let.
Hey, let me ask you this question. So you get drafted by the Jets, and you were flirting with the idea of just being like, "No, I don't feel like being a Jet," but you're a Jet nonetheless. What happens after the draft? Like your emotions that you go through? Do you go like through a big motivating factor of, oh my God, I'm in the NFL. Let me get to work. I'm going to be competing against men now. That whole thing. What goes through your mind right after you get drafted? After the phone call's made, after the first family celebration, right? All that. You're on your way to see the team sign the contract. The whole thing. What's going through your mind at that point?
Well, for me, it was a little different because you didn't go out right away like they did. Like, because I think, when I think I saw Devontae Smith, he was at the Hawks. He was at the Sixers game. And I think he rang the bell.
I was there. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I actually went to my first game. He was there, rang the bell with Brandon Graham. Yeah.
Wasn't that the game where they beat the brakes off the Hawks? Because they beat the brakes off the Hawks like back-to-back.
Twice, that's right. Oh, my God. Yeah, this was the game Trae Young played in.
Yeah, I think it was. But anyway, like for them, it's just different because they immediately came to their city. So they immediately did, like I saw him talking to, Dave Spadaro and things like that. So that's pretty cool, especially when you're coming from where he's coming from, coming to Philadelphia, going to the Novacare complex, because I saw him walking through and then having Jalen Hurts waiting there for you. That had to be exciting, man. And then just the Novacare complex itself, to see all of that Eagles history running through there, to look at that wall of Pro Bowl players and see that guy, Hugh Douglas, front and center right there. That had to be an awe-inspiring moment, even though he plays offense. But to see that guy,
totally.
To see that guy, that had to be a motivating factor for him. Had to be.
You know what, Hugh? I know the picture you're referring to, and every time I see it, it brings a smile to my face because there is completely froed out Hugh Douglas with the big smile on his face.
Yeah, it's growing out a little bit.
It looks good. You look like $1 million damn dollars.
But I know if you see, like, it look like it's still got that chia pet look. It's a little like, it's a little. But hopefully, when it gets to where it needs to be, it's gonna, turn into like this hair on the side. Because right now it just looks, it just looks weird. But it looks good for the Mohawk concept, though.
Yes, definitely. So I'll just say this: my goal, Hugh, is that you are there, just trying to, fray it out a little bit more, like in a month or so. Yeah.
It probably won't be a month or so. It's going to probably be a while, but
okay.
We're in there.
Hugh, as always, Hugh Lamont Douglas III on this Happy Hughes Day. Always great catching up with you. You really, let me tell you something. You really brought us behind the scenes in the Novacare complex with your breakdown of Tom Donahoe.
Yeah, listen, but you know what? Since I brought you behind the scenes, I'll probably never be able to go back. But it's cool. I didn't burn bridges before. I'm not a bridge builder. I'm a fire starter.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hugh Lamont Douglas III on this fine Hughes Day. Thank you, Hugh.
Thank you, man. Have a great day.
You as well. Peace. Hugh Douglas joining us here on the Zatos Investments. My man's off his damn rocker. God love him for it. Thanks to you, Douglas, for joining us on the Zatos Investments guest line. No shortage of entertainment from Hugh today, as per usual. So how about that? Hugh was texting, not tweeting. For a second, I was like, hold on a second. Did my boy, Did he tweet the fake Howie Roseman account and think it was the real thing? No? Okay. I was like, hold on. I think he means text. And sure enough, that's what he meant. So at least somebody had a fist bump waiting for him, right? All right, so that's good. Thanks again to Hugh Douglas for joining us there on the show. Before we get to our social media check-in brought to you by our good friends at Stake Man, I do want to tell you about DraftKings Sportsbook. The hits literally keep on coming from one boxing event to the next. They grow in excitement and anticipation, and this weekend is no different with two of the sport's most respected fighters stepping into the ring Saturday. There's no better place to get in on all the action than DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. For the action this weekend, DraftKings is where you got to be. This weekend's fights, DraftKings offering all new users a shot at turning $1 into $55. To celebrate this weekend's huge event, DraftKings Sportsbook is offering new users the opportunity to get $55 to 1 odds. 55 to 1 odds on either main event fighter to win this weekend's fight. All you got to do is bet $1, and if the fighter of your choice wins, you get $55. Plus, we got basketball odds, they got hockey odds, playoff odds, everything around the horn. You got to have yourself a good time with DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook, safe, secure, and reliable, meaning you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. And you can do it quickly. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy when you sign up. For a limited time, all new users can bet $1 to win $55 on this weekend's main event fights. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook going all out for new users by offering them a chance to win $55 when placing a bet for $1 on this weekend's big fight. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And how about our friends? How about this? Check out Philadelphia Sports Nation, a local Philadelphia sports site covering your favorite teams across blogs and social media. PhiladelphiaSportsNation.com, PhiladelphiaSportsNation.com, PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. How about Zatos Investments? You've been hearing us talk about them for 3 months now. Zatos Investments, an up-and-coming luxury real estate and development investment company in the Philadelphia area. They're crushing the game right now in the Philadelphia area. They design and develop top-of-the-line custom homes all around the city, ranging from small single-family rehabs to ground-up new construction, townhomes, and condo buildings. Zatos works closely with their private investor base to provide them with substantial returns on their investment, ranging from 20 to 40%. To see some of their properties and also learn how you too could invest with Zatos Investments, reach out to info@ZatosInvestments.com or simply visit ZatosInvestments.com. And Steak and Maine, fine dining in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Whether you dine in a more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. Also, an extensive wine list. You like a nice little wine pairing? Why not? Get a nice steak, you want a nice red wine, right? How about Cavada Cellars Wines? That's right, from Tony Cavada's family to yours. They have their own cellars. It's amazing. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Visit Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check them out for yourself at steakandmaine.com for more information. Let's jump into our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. Mac, we'll go from most recent to throw it back in the beginning of the show here. Mac's checking in saying, Howie blocks you, Marc. Howie would probably block me. That's probably true. Next time, text him before the pick and help him make the pick. That's from Ken. Thank you, Ken. What else do we have? People really enjoying a lot of the stories and anecdotes from Hugh Douglas. Ronald's checking in saying, I just don't see the second pick working out. Can't imagine. You get healthier as you age with your lower body. His lower body is the lower body of a 60-year-old man. I wouldn't go that far, but I agree with the first part of that. As I've been saying, it doesn't get any easier in the NFL. Like I don't remember anybody, really a lot of people in college going to the NFL to get healthier. That very rarely happens. Let me hope that it does happen. Mally, what's up, buddy? Checking in, just saying, don't need a corner. Line wins championships. I agree with you, but the Eagles literally need a corner. I don't think Zach McPherson is the guy to get it done. Would like to see them go after that. Like, as I was saying with you, I think as you go a little bit, once you leave the first and second round in particular, I think you can start to focus a little bit more on need and find a healthier balance between best player available and need. You can find that balance really after the second round. I would have liked to see them really do that in the third round, especially because I can't point it out enough. After your selection in the third round, there's a corner right there that went next. He was Canadian, though. So, again, I'll make the same stupid joke I made yesterday. Can you take him? Danny Watkins. And then there was 5 other guys that went off the board as well. So I don't know anyone that would have called it a stretch if that many corners were being taken off the board. But I digress. Matt's checking and saying, I like Avante in the slot. Saul needed help outside with Slay last year. I agree with that, Matt. Not really funny, but nothing else to say about it. Don't plan for a core. I don't know what that's a reference to. Miss Scusi, apologize. Jeff, Mark, stop giving Howie credit. It makes your tummy hurt. I'm sorry, Jeff. I hope your tummy feels better. What else do we have here? We have people just saying, what's up, Hugh? Mark, you need Tom on to tell him. Oh, that's right. I need to get Tom Donahoe on the show. Tell his side of the story. I would love the idea. I do like what Hugh was getting at with the idea that he just wasn't familiar with fist bumps. Make it a total generational thing. What do you got there? Real humdinger? No, thank you. Like, is that the way Tom Donahoe talks? I don't think so. I think he's a little bit. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, just a lot of people checking in on that whole instance. No real letter grades coming in, as I asked before. People want to wait and see on the draft and all that, as Hugh was saying. So I understand that. Yes, it does feel like we've had a lot of Todd Pinkston conversation. Recently. I would love to get Todd Pinkston on the show. Like, I just want to know how he feels about Philly. And it's funny. He played after here, I think it was a 7 or 8 year NFL career, was a second round draft pick here in Philadelphia in 2000. Then I remember he was with the Vikings, and then I think he was with Washington for a minute or two. So I think it was about a 7 year, maybe an 8 year NFL career. I would like to see how he looks back on Philadelphia. I would like to see that. I would, and plus, he was a skinnier guy, as Hugh was saying. He's a skinnier guy. I want to know any advice he might have for Devontae Smith. The only other thing, though, is that Todd Pinkston was like 6'3", so a little taller than Devontae Smith, but still a slender guy in the NFL trying to go up and catch passes. I would like to talk to Todd Pinkston, as a matter of fact. Thanks for everybody that checked in on our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine and SteakandMaine.com. How about our Morning Rush? Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Make sure you check them out. First, ladies and gentlemen, the big game tonight in the NBA. You got the Nets taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. The Sixers right now are in a solid first place right now in the Eastern Conference. So there's some stuff on the line there. They might only be a half game up before they go to play the Rockets tomorrow night in Houston. But that's what's going on in the NBA tonight. Sixers, like I said, back at it tomorrow night, 8 o'clock in Houston, Texas. Flyers played yesterday and beat the Penguins 7-2. How about this? The Flyers chairman, Dave Scott, addressed the media yesterday, and apparently that was enough giddy up for the Flyers as they won 7-2. Claude Giroux, a 3-point night, 2 goals and an assist for the Flyers Capitaine. Nice to see that from Claude Giroux. Nice to see the Flyers win, eliminated from the playoffs. Maybe you want Dave Scott to come out and talk a little bit earlier, maybe jazz them up just a little bit more. No? Okay. But Alex Lyon was in net for the Flyers last night, made a miraculous save. Definitely recommend going back and check some of the highlights of that game last night. So Flyers were able to get the win. They're right back at it tonight, 7 o'clock against the Penguins yet again. Always a great thing to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. Phillies back at it tonight. Aaron Nola on the bump tonight against left-handed pitcher Lauer. That game, 7:05, Citizens Bank Park, game 2 of the 4-game series against the Brewers. Phillies going into this game as -1.5 favorites over the Brewers. I looked up and down Major League Baseball, and yeah, just all -1.5, +1.5 if you want to get on the action there at DraftKings. They got plenty of action for you there. But hopefully the Phillies can continue the success that they had last night. Obviously dropping 2 or 3 to the Mets. And as part of the morning rush, I did want to mention that the Mets fired, I believe it was 2 different coaches, including their hitting coach, which was I didn't even realize that he was their hitting coach. Chili Davis, which is a name I haven't really thought much about since I was just a wee lad. But Chili Davis is their hitting coach. He's gone, so see you later. Mets trying to make some changes with the very tightly wrapped NL East as it is right now. But hoping after losing 2 or 3 in that series, Phillies are able to come right back and hopefully at least take 3 out of 4 against the Brewers in this series. Nola on the hill. Here's what I'd like to see from Aaron Nola tonight, especially even though Vince Velasquez went 6 innings, you still use a little bit more bullpen arms than you would have liked to. But I'd love to see 7 strong from Aaron Nola tonight. I would love to see this line from Aaron Nola. 7 innings, 2 earned runs. Love to see that. That's what I want to see from the Phillies tonight with Aaron Nola and give the bullpen only about 2 innings worth of work tonight. That's what I'd like to see. Like to see Bryce Harper back in the lineup. Like to see Rhys Hoskins back in the lineup tonight and really put up some runs and help out this offense. And also JT Realmuto getting things done in the batter's box as well. So hopefully that does come to fruition for the Phillies tonight. So let's jump into the realm, right? Let's jump into the realm of pop culture for a second. Nothing's funny about divorce. All right. However, if you're a public figure like Bill Gates and you get divorced after 27 years of marriage, memes are funny about divorce. If you haven't yet gone on social media to check out some of the memes, they are fantastic. And I saw at least one. It's not a meme by any means, but I saw this one on. If you're familiar with Instagram, it's Bleep Jerry. You got me? And I just thought this is how Bill Gates would try to pick up his next lady. No? If you were a fruit, you'd be a fine apple. Yeah. I will say my favorite memes have to do with comparing Bill Gates to, is it Kip? Was it Kip? I believe it was Kip. Kip from Napoleon Dynamite. And it was like Kip while he was married. It was Bill Gates while he was married, and it was Kip at the computer typing away. And then it was Bill Gates when he's divorced, and it was Kip with LaFonda, the latter half of that movie. Anyway, just enjoy the social media rounds with all that. So definitely worth checking out a little bit later on today. So make sure you do that. That was our Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Big bets segment. Nothing, unfortunately, really jumping out to me. I will tell you this. I have never bet baseball before. Last night I bet baseball. I told you I was betting baseball. I said at the beginning of the show, and I said at the end of the show yesterday as well, that I liked this game as a game for a lot of runs with Vince Velasquez back on the hill. That didn't happen. I lost that bet. I lost a couple of bucks on the Phillies last night by not hitting the over in runs. Phillies also did not cover. They only won by a run and a half. Or excuse me, they only won by a run. It was a run and a half was the line. I did win money off the Sixers, though, and I was sweating in that fourth quarter. I had the Sixers at -7.5 against the Bulls team. The bench made me sweat it out. Joel Embiid throughout the game made me sweat it out because he was having an off night offensively speaking. So that was not good. However, they did rally. They did cover, and all was right with the world. So I won. I actually ended up winning a couple of bucks thanks to bet more money. I was more confident in the Sixers beating the Bulls by 7.5, certainly than I was the Phillies and the Brewers combining for over 9 runs. So I put more money on the Sixers last night, so I still ended up winning some money for myself on DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. The DraftKings Sportsbook app, the app you should be using for all your sports bets. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. Tomorrow, we're going to talk to Mike K of NJ.com. Mike has a phenomenal story. I tweeted it out. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. It's on my Twitter feed. A behind-the-scenes look of Devontae Smith and kind of what went into Devontae becoming the player that he is today and now the Eagles' first-round draft pick. And really the expectations for him, for himself, that he has for himself at the NFL level now. So a lot of good stuff, and we'll talk to Mike K about that tomorrow, so don't miss that conversation. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Much obliged to everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And also, Mother's Day, don't forget, Sunday, here at the Steven Singer Studios. Always like to send you over to Steven Singer at IHateStevenSinger.com. Get yourself a gold-dipped rose, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. I'm Marc Farzetta from the Steven Singer Studios. Take it easy, everybody.